I am so excited to be partnering up with Gorillas again this season. The original sexy grocery delivery app is revolutionising online shopping. Fresh food delivered to your door in minutes, catering to all your food needs. Operating in 9 countries around the world, Gorillas supports small businesses as well as local producers to bring your favourite brands to your door. Run out of wine during the dinner party? Gorillas can sort that. Run out of eggs for your Sunday morning pancakes? Gorillas can also sort that. Don't believe me when I say how great they are? Then download their app and get £10 off your first order when you spend £20. Use the code SEXY10 at checkout and thank me later. Hello and welcome to the Crazy Sexy Food Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Harley-Young. This podcast is all about the love of food and how it plays a part in our lives. I sit down with well-known personalities, food experts, chefs, and people who just love their food to find out all about their life, career, and their favourite tastes along the way. Today I'm joined by a world champion boxer, Lawrence Okolie, fresh from the ring of his latest bout, which saw him retain his world title. Lawrence is not just the WBO Cruiserweight champion of the world, but he is also a hugely motivational speaker and inspiration to us all. Through his incredibly unique rise to success, he has spoken up about the struggles he experienced growing up, from bullying to being overweight to racism. He detailed this all in his book, Dare to Change Your Life, where he opens up about how he went from being clinically obese to competing at the Olympics within 4 years, mixed with motivational quotes and advice. It's a huge privilege to have you join me today, Lawrence. We have a lot to talk about. Welcome to Crazy Sexy Food.
Thank you. That's a great intro.
First of all, a massive congratulations. You've just come off the back of retaining your world title. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. This one in particular was one where, I felt a lot of pressure because I knew what was on the other side of victory. And, I was up against a really good competitor who had his whole nation behind him. So, I feel happy and blessed to have got the victory.
And I mean, what does it feel like when you sort of step out of the ring after winning a fight? I mean, obviously you're filled with adrenaline, but is it quite an overwhelming experience? Is a lot of mixed emotions, I can imagine?
Well, it always depends on how the fight goes. You'll feel differently. When I've gone and got quick knockouts, you just happy move on. When it's been harder fights and stuff like that, you feel more relief. So this one was a mix of emotions. I wanted to get a knockout. It didn't come, but I was just happy to remain victorious. And I can say that I've been world champion. 2 successful defenses, and we're pushing on for more.
Absolutely. So you are recording from bed. I think you're my first guest who has recorded from bed. So the next question, I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I always ask my guests, what did you have for breakfast today?
Unfortunately, I haven't managed to eat any breakfast yet today because I have been in bed. Do you know what I mean? But I'll be looking forward to probably going to have something. Now, seeing as we're talking about food, I'm gonna go outlandish today. I'm not sure what yet, but it's going to be outside my norm.
Oh, so what's a normal breakfast?
Probably porridge, oats, that kind of thing. Maybe, avocado toast and stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna go adventurous. I'm not sure where that takes me, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find out.
So are we talking like crazy adventurous, like, I don't know, pancakes,
I think
waffles?
you nailed it.
You're going full in. You're going in.
I think
Yeah.
we'll go on pancakes. We're gonna find a nice spot that can cater to what I need, and we're gonna enjoy.
Perfect. So I want to take it back to your childhood. You were born and raised in Hackney in East London. I want to know what life was like growing up. I want to know who was cooking. Was food important in your household? What were you eating? Sort of paint the whole picture.
Well, yeah, food was really important in my house. Cooking wise, it was mainly my mum. She'd like, make a point of she enjoys cooking, so a lot of African food. The traditional Nigerian stuff. And when I got to a certain age, I obviously I love food, so I would get home before her, cook myself a little something to eat, and then still have hers afterwards. So I was really really enjoying food.
And can you give me some examples of like what sort of dishes were on the table?
Yeah, so like obviously the standard jollof rice with various meats when I was younger, stuff like pounded yam, eba, plantain fried. Yeah, just a whole bunch. Fried rice, just like any sort of Nigerian dish you can think of.
And
I
so
was
was
in
she
there.
only cooking Nigerian food, or was she ever
Yeah,
cooking like anything like, I don't know, like a spag bowl or whatever?
not really, but the occasional. Obviously, she's quite diverse. So, but mainly, it was African stuff, and then if it came to breakfast, it could be English breakfast,
Yeah,
eggs
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever else. Yeah, yeah, that was kind of the vibe.
So I love Nigerian food.
Nice,
I
love
used to,
to hear it.
used to have a Nigerian boyfriend a long time ago,
Okay.
and my favorite Nigerian dish is efo.
Oh, okay. You're really going for it. Yeah, you really did have a Nigerian
Yeah, I
boyfriend.
did.
Hey,
So I kind of feel like, I've only met you for like 5 minutes, but I feel like there's sort of these two sides of Lawrence Okolie. I feel like there's this world champion boxer, and then there's this other side that is just as powerful, but is full of motivation, inspiration for others. And you have been very open about your childhood and some of the experiences and some of the struggles that you had to deal with growing up, such as weight issues, bullying, racism. And I guess what I want to know is, in your sort of younger life, was boxing even something that was on your radar?
no, the only experience I had with boxing was, I saw a thing where Mike Tyson had bit Evander Holyfield. That was it,
Yeah.
And I think everyone kind of knew who Muhammad Ali was, but outside of that, no, you know what I mean. I never watched a fight, never even knew what it was. Do you know what I'm saying? Really. So yeah, I'd never watched a boxing match before. Before I went to the boxing gym, never. Yeah, boxing was just a foreign sport.
And I guess, for some people that have sort of followed your story, they will know about this. But for anyone that doesn't, what was kind of the turning point? Because I know it involves McDonald's.
Yeah.
But sort of for people that might not know, can you just sort of detail what sort of turned your life around?
Well, really, I mean, the short version of it is I was working one particular day. I was a minute or two late, and I got a real telling off for it. Fair enough, but late's late. And then that particular lunch break, it was the Olympic finals where I saw Anthony Joshua go on and win Olympic gold. I'd then done research and found out that Luke Campbell, Nicola Addett, there was a whole bunch of gold medalists from the UK, and it just really inspired me and made me feel like anything's possible. And like especially someone like Anthony Joshua, he's come from a place where it's quite similar to mine, so it seemed a lot more achievable. So I just thought, you know what, I can do this, and then I pushed on and I went for it.
And I mean, I know this sounds like a really silly question, but like, did you literally leave work that day and you were like, okay, this is it. Like, I need to change my life around. I need to, like, were you like Googling, like, what do I do to
Yeah.
become
No,
these
so
people essentially?
no, 100. I mean, like obviously with that one, I'd had some experiences and I'd been to a boxing gym before. Do you know what I mean? At this stage, so it wasn't like they're boxers. I'm gonna be boxers, but it
Yeah.
was like it was never a plan of mine to become a boxer to take it up seriously. It was
Okay.
just like a pastime to drop weight and stuff. So yeah, after that day, I did leave that particular day. My manager was really cool about it. I think it was, he's like, okay, yeah, sure, good luck, mate. Yeah, I mean,
Bye.
and but me and him are still cool as well as a lot of people that we work there together. But yeah, it was generally as quick and easy as that. It's just like, you know what, I'm not gonna accomplish what I want to accomplish here right now, because my goal wasn't, to become a manager or anything like that. At McDonald's, it was. to go on and do something else. So it's a blessing, yeah.
Absolutely. And then you went on to, I'm sort of fast forwarding a bit, but you sort of went on to document a lot of this in your book, which is called Dare to Change Your Life, which is part memoir, part sort of quite like a lot of motivational speak. Why did you decide to write that book? Was it difficult? Was it quite easy to do it?
It was a mixture. So obviously, I didn't actually particularly want to write a book, but I did an interview quite similar to this, with Fern Cotton, and she
Yeah.
seemed like
I
she was
love
taken
Fern.
aback.
She's a friend of mine.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
and she just seemed quite taken aback by my story and everything like that. And then she obviously approached and said, "Hey, well, I think your story is amazing. Have you ever thought about sort of documenting it?" And where I hadn't won a world title and I hadn't done the stuff that I want to go on to even accomplish from here, I was kind of like, it's a bit premature. Is it like, remember why? Like, do you know what I mean? But then she just said, like, and just in a nicer way, but it's just like, am I being selfish and letting ego sort of get in the way? Because there's a story there where someone went from obesity, getting bullied, to being an Olympian and a championship boxer, and it's like, what would I have liked to have said to my younger self? Do you know what I mean? To motivate and inspire him to go on and to do what I've accomplished or something else. And I thought to myself, she's right. It's potentially bigger than just me and my ego. So I just thought, I'll go ahead and get it done. And then in terms of the actual process, yeah, it was quite easy because it's a lot of my own like anecdotes. It's not like my life story. It's just anecdotes. Well, don't be jealous. And here's an example of myself, and whatever else. Work hard. Just yeah, like all the different 41 sort of steps. I just linked them into actual stuff that's happened in my own life. So it was quite straightforward, really.
It's funny because, I mean, listen, I also was quite overweight as a child,
Yeah.
and I didn't suffer from bullying, but I had terrible, terrible confidence issues that kind of came from the way that I looked and how unhappy I was.
Oh,
And I feel like there's serious resilience behind you to completely change your life around. And, in a similar way, I mean, I eventually lost weight, and it was kind of when
congratulations.
thank you. But and it wasn't that because I then became an athlete or whatever. I think I just naturally got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to just sort my life out. I'm not happy, and I can't live like this forever. But where does that underlying strength and resilience come from? Because a lot of people are overweight. A lot of people deal with bullying, but not everyone necessarily can completely change their life around like that. They don't have the, perhaps, I don't know, the mindset or the tools to be able to do that.
I think it definitely comes from within. Do you know what I'm saying? I think you have to kind of just make the choice the same way you have yourself to kind of go ahead and make that stuff happen. I don't know what motivated or inspired you, or if it was just a case of, I've had enough, but that's it really. Do you know what I mean? I think you just get to that point and you just
I
say,
think everyone has their kind of like boiling point, don't they?
well,
It's sort of like their
and then
moment.
after that boiling point, you have to then say to yourself, like, am I actually going to act on this or am I not? Do you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the hard part. I think the hard part is actually knowing I want to change this, and then actually going ahead and doing that. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it just further goes into the spiral. If you want to change it and you're not changing it, it's going to make you even more unhappy. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, everything that we're talking about actually is obviously heavily linked to food. So, I wanted to know what your relationship with food was like when you were younger, when you were overweight. Was it simply that you were just overeating and you weren't eating the right foods, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it was a mix. It turned into a sort of spiral effect. So obviously, it starts off with not having the knowledge of nutrition and stuff like that, and just enjoying the taste of food. Like, and then it became social for me, and then after that, it became I'm actually, when I became a bit more conscious, like, oh my days, this is what it is to be fat or be like, you become more aware of it. Do you know what I mean? So initially, it was that. Then I would literally just find a safe haven in the cafeteria where I was getting bullied, that's a place where all of the teachers were and whatever else. And I'll just stay in there the whole lunch. And then that would come with like, okay, well, you get seconds when you're still there after everyone's been fed. There's leftover food, and that I used to look forward to that. At the end of the lunch break, I would just wait, get some extra food, then on the way home, chicken and chips, then get home, have a French toast that I learned how to make myself, and then afterwards have African food, and you don't realize how many calories you're taking on whatever else, and then you get like overweight, you get understanding of that, and then it makes it more difficult for you to so then it gets into spiral. Then is it comfort eating? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, and I guess you probably weren't. I mean, were you doing sports at school, or was it just not really something you were
No, I mean,
interested
like I
in?
would, try and hide on PE day
Yeah,
because, you
me
know, you,
too.
and even for me, I would have like, to how do I say? So I would have to like take off my top, and I didn't want to. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would find different ways to get away from that and
Yeah.
whatever else.
I couldn't relate to you more. Like, it was even
Hmm.
like with me, like I was in an all girls school, and like the days when there'd be like swimming class, it's like there's no way I'm getting into a swimming costume like with my peers, because
Yeah,
that's just that so uncomfortable for me to even think about at the time.
this is it.
So I totally get it. So I guess again, I'm sort of jumping all over the place, but when you do start sort of getting into the boxing and you start training and you start changing your life around, obviously your physical appearance starts, changing quite dramatically.
Yeah.
What would you say were like some of the main points nutrition wise that I guess you learned?
I learned, about obviously calorie deficit. So training more than I was eating. Not eating too late, close to bedtime. Um, you know, greasy, fatty foods are harder to burn than vegetables and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are the main ones,
And
really.
then, but like, so when you did start like training with the boxing, so were you going to a boxing gym? Is that how you sort of
Yeah,
started?
so I actually got into the boxing gym because I had a fight in school where someone was, attempting to bully me and once, not school, like, whatever. They were, taking the mick out of me the whole day and my weight and stuff like that. And we eventually had a fight, and a particular boxer in my school just said, I've seen you have so many fights throughout school. Like, just come down to the boxing gym because I usually win. And he said, just come
Of
down to the
course.
boxing gym. And then I went down and fell in love with it the first time, and just kind of just sort of got into it that way. And it kind of helped with my temper and stuff anyway. So I just liked it anyhow. But then it was just never something I was going to take seriously as a job or anything like that.
This is really weird you saying this because I didn't know parts of that story. So my
Hmm.
husband used to be a boxer,
Oh wow.
and the reason he got into boxing is
Hmm.
because he had a really bad temper and he got
Oh
into a
wow.
fight at school.
Hmm.
His was a little bit more serious because it may or may not have been with an altercation with a teacher.
Oh my
However,
goodness.
he ended up
Allegedly.
going to Sheffield and working with Brendan Ingalls. So he was
Oh wow.
working, yeah, so he was fighting up there. So I so understand everything that you're saying, because I do think it is an incredible outlet for kids who maybe do have a few issues going on, whether it be at home or like within themselves. I think it's, for me even, I find when I'm just like boxing on a bag, whatever, it's how I get rid of my tension.
Agreed. I think boxing
So
is underrated for that.
yeah, totally. So you then obviously find yourself at the Olympics before turning pro. Was that quite a daunting experience?
No, it wasn't daunting. I think it worked in two ways. So it was a blessing, because I was 2015 still in Hackney, just not sure what was going to happen, where I was going to go, and then 7 months later I was no, actually 6 months later I qualified for the Olympics, and then 8 months later I was actually there. So it was quite a whirlwind, but I just kind of went with the wave. I didn't really overthink it. But then when I got there, I think I was more happy to be there, seeing Usain Bolt, seeing all the good and great English and British um, athletes, and I was just more like a fan than like
Yeah.
an athlete. But then I think that did help me. I did mention it in the book, but it helped me change my mindset in terms of like how I approached occasions and stuff. Because, like I said, I was happy to be there as opposed to focused on winning something, you know. So when I turned professional, I promised myself that I would be focused on winning and goals and myself and stuff like that.
And I guess like my real like interest when it comes to boxing, because obviously I now live in a boxing household,
Okay.
is, and I've always been into it actually, but
hmm
when prepping for a fight, what are you eating? Because sort of how long do you usually give yourself when you go into like like training camp and whatnot?
Well, it depends. I would like to say 7 weeks of being in a camp house, but beforehand
Okay.
just training anyway. And I get a bit more strict the last maybe 6 weeks on like the like solid vegan diet. Do you know what I mean? Just getting in. I have nutritionists or chefs that come in and help with that. Um, so that's kind of what I'd have, like, beans, lentils, sometimes meat substitutes, loads of like greens and stuff like that.
Are you a full-time vegan?
So I'd say 90% because I don't want to say yes and then someone catches me having um an Oreo milkshake or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Or your
generally,
bacon and eggs later on?
no. I don't eat meat, but it's the dairy that was hard for
Okay.
me to kind of let go of completely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I love milk.
So do you? So God, so you literally cut? Oh my God! So you cut out eggs and oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay,
everything. Yeah.
that's a
Just
lot.
yeah.
Why did you decide to do that?
I wanted to give it a go for a month, and then after the month, I enjoyed it so much that I just kept it going.
And do you feel like it makes a huge difference in your performance?
For me, yeah. So I started after the Olympics, so ever since as a pro, I haven't had any meat or fish or anything like that, and I've been doing all right.
And then a part of this sort of run up to a fight, obviously, you're going to be cutting weight, which
Yes.
I just do not know how you guys do that.
hmm
Like, what is it? Just a matter of not eating or eating very certain foods? You
Yeah.
know,
So
that's
it's a
sort of like
mixture.
that bit before weigh-in. You're literally, I mean, obviously my husband has told me, kind of what happens. I mean, is that not a dangerous process on the body?
It depends on how you do it. Some people do it a lot better than others. Some people, like, you have to get good people on board or know yourself. Uh, I think for me, it's about just being consistent for a while. Do you know what I'm saying? On diet, on all that other stuff.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, it's just a case of finding the weight that works for you and then not overdoing it. Do you know what I mean?
So what is your natural walking weight?
I can't say. Do you know what I mean? But it's more than I
Oh,
weigh
you're
in
not
at.
allowed
Right
to.
there. I just wouldn't say.
Okay, and then, but like, what would you be normally cutting down to? Are you allowed to say that?
I'll cut down to 14 stone 4, so 91 kilos.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm within the 10% range. That's the main thing.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, and I've spoken to a few athletes about this who they're not boxers. I recently interviewed a guy from the NFL, and we
Okay.
were talking about what happens to athletes. But in this situation, we're talking about boxers, about when they actually retire and what
hmm
happens to their bodies. You
Yeah.
know, I think that we've all sort of seen photos of certain boxers who have, really put weight on after. Do you think that that's just, I guess, listen, you're burning so many calories, when you're training, when you're boxing, whatever it is that you're in. Do you think it's just like a massive shock on the body and it just,
I
you're trying
think,
to, I guess, find your new life in a way?
yeah. I think I obviously haven't retired yet, but I think that it would probably
You've
be
only just
because,
started, darling. You've only just
yeah, hence.
started.
I think the only thing is that I know what it's like in and out of camp, so I can only imagine what it's like when you retire. But you showed so much discipline for however many weeks and in terms of retirement years that when you do retire, now you don't have anything to sort of, that the goal was to train for a fight. Now you have no fight. It's kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
enjoy food that I've been missing out on for all these years
Yeah.
and whatever else. And I think yeah, that could be the only possible reason.
I think it's also like you lose that structure in your life as well,
Yeah,
right?
hundred
You
percent. Yeah,
know,
you have
it's
to kind of
like
lose that.
you as you actually used a word, like you're so disciplined. I have
Hmm.
so much admiration for athletes and people who devote their life to that because
Hmm.
you're on such a strict schedule.
Yeah,
You know when you're going to eat next, you know when you're
yeah.
going to be training, you know what you're training each day, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like you're kind of in like a sort of it's kind of like being at school in a way. You kind of
No,
know what's happening, and then to suddenly for it to all just disappear, and then for you to sort of fend for yourself out in the big wide world.
yeah,
It's
no,
it's a
100%.
shock.
Yeah, it's a shock to the system, and it's important to get your head screwed on. Do you know what I mean? And make sure that your head is in the right place, because after you finish boxing, you don't know what direction you could potentially go in if you haven't got, as you said, that structure. Um, so yeah, just I think it probably should be spoken about more, to be fair, because you see it happen so often.
No, and that's exactly what this other guy said as well. He said it's actually never really dealt with. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is a huge mentor of yours. Do you guys spar together?
Yes, because we're one weight class apart from each other, so yeah, we often spar.
I hope you give him a bloody good seeing too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always good. Obviously I'm a world class athlete. He's a world class athlete, so we're always gonna have some good work together.
Absolutely. I do have one last question regarding to
Okay.
boxing that has come
Yes.
from my husband. He desperately needs to know.
Okay.
So, in your recent fight last
Mhm.
week, you walked into the ring with one of the best MMA fighters in the world, Israel
Yes.
Adesanya, and
Yes.
he needs to know: have you guys sparred together? And if so, who's coming up tops?
Not yet. We probably will in the coming months, because I need to get a bit of jujitsu and other work, because I think some of my fights get a little bit um too much wrestling, so I kind of want to figure out ways of getting out of it. So me and him will be working together. In a spar, it depends. If we're talking boxing, there's no way I can get outdone. If we're talking MMA, I don't think I'd even bother. Do you know what I mean?
Are you interested in getting into MMA?
Absolutely not. I just don't think I could take a kick. I couldn't take a kick. Couldn't take being thrown around. Couldn't take someone on
Oh,
top of me just pounding down. It's just too much. I
do you know
rather
what?
we
I
just
watch
go
it a
hands.
lot as well, and I just because like I really am into like all different sort of
Yeah,
forms of
the actual
fighting,
combat.
but it's
It's
mad.
intense. It's intense. It's
Yeah,
intense.
it's
Yeah.
a lot. It's a lot. So, what do you eat when you have finished a massive boxing match? What did you eat when you said when you won last week?
If you're blessed enough to be able to eat afterwards, if you haven't taken any damage to the jaw,
True.
I just enjoy like maybe like a good Thai, um, good like maybe Italian stuff that is really high in carbs and stuff that I wouldn't have eaten before the fight. So desserts, I just like when I go to town, which is why the weight goes up. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
That's okay. You deserve it for a little bit of time.
yeah.
Can you cook?
I can, yes. I can cook. Obviously, from my younger days, I used to have to sneak meals in before mummy was home. But of late, I kind of more rely on chefs.
What are your specialities at home if you are cooking?
Probably like surprisingly, like sort of like the Thais and Chinese, Indian stuff. I'm not really that good at African food. Um,
You can't
yeah,
make jollof rice.
not yet, not yet. I never really gave it a go. I make fried rice, but it's just that actually it looked far too technical for me when I was younger. Um,
Lawrence,
but
even I can make jollof rice.
and I think what, given a cookbook, given the opportunity to learn and the will to, I could too. But I just I never really went for it. Do you know what I'm saying? I never really went for it.
Okay, well, put that on your list of things to do.
Thank you. And also, you and your husband just get me a batch. That would be perfect.
I will. I mean, I didn't end up marrying a Nigerian, but I will
Oh,
make it
sorry.
for you.
Apologies.
No, that's
Apologies.
okay, but I will make it for you. Don't you worry. I make a
Okay.
very, very good one because I love spicy food, so
Okay.
it's
Nice.
perfect spice. Where are some of your favorite restaurants to eat at?
There's a restaurant called, I mean, McDonald's, obviously. And then outside of that, we've got, I think it's called Spork or something like that in Mayfair. It's like a African fine
Ah,
dining
yeah, yeah,
sort of
yeah.
place. Um, Obviously the name brands, Hakkasan. you know. I like Honest Burger because they've got a really nice vegan burger.
Okay. Well, I finish my conversations with a few quickfire questions. Are you
Okay,
ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So this podcast is sponsored by Gorillas. If you were stuck at home and you needed to order 3 ingredients to make something, what are those 3 ingredients you're going to order?
Sourdough bread, avocado, and chili flakes.
Nice. Perfect meal.
Mm.
Okay, what is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
I've never really been that adventurous with food. I can't think, maybe a turkey tail or something. I don't know.
Do you ever eat I remember trying, I didn't like it. What's that Nigerian dish with tripe in it?
Okay, yeah, fine. That is, yeah, cool. Yeah. That,
I can't eat
yeah, I
that.
know. I didn't know what it was initially, so I'd eat it
Yeah.
like it was. But as soon as I found out and saw them actually do it in real life, yeah,
Yeah,
that probably
no.
sent me vegan. To be fair.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that's going to send me vegan if I think about it
Mm.
more. What has been your most memorable meal?
Oh wow, that's a great question. I think probably just one of my birthdays. I think one of my birthdays. I'm trying to think which one it was, but I did like a whole speech on like I'm gonna win the world title and do this, that, and other. I think we recorded it, and then obviously it
Oh,
all came true.
amazing.
So I was like, probably that one.
Oh, I love that. You manifested it into
That's the one.
existence. My favorite snack of all time is a packet of crisps. What is
Okay.
your favorite flavor of crisps and why? Very important question, obviously.
Yeah. My goodness. Wow. I think I'm gonna go with just Pringles because that's the one that I actually probably more. Do they count as? I think so. Chris. Yeah. Pringles.
Really?
Yeah. I can't
What
think.
flavor?
The
Ready
sour
salted.
cream. No
Oh, the
sour.
sour cream.
Yeah.
So have you seen the video of the Pringles being set on fire online?
Oh no. Listen. You asked me crisps, so I had to. But yeah.
Don't
I
watch
haven't
it
seen
then.
that.
If you like
Okay.
Pringles, don't watch it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I like the. No. Yeah. That's the one. That's the truth. Really.
Okay. What food sums up happiness for you?
Probably like a vegan cake. Oh no, apple crumble and custard definitely.
Okay, nice. Love a good apple crumble. And
Oh, that
final
is the best.
question, live to eat or eat to live?
Live to eat or eat to live? Oh wow. It depends if we're in or out of camp. We're in camp, obviously it's gotta be eat to live, and then out of camp it's live to eat. I think I really have to be careful after I finish boxing. So I think that anyone that I end up with has to make sure that they're not being catfished because it's all good seeing me at seeing me at the weigh-ins
All
and
ripped and
real
chiseled
six
and
packs. And
yeah.
yeah. Oh my, he's such an athlete, so disciplined. The day that I retire, it's a big battle. It's a huge battle. Am I gonna go down that road of
Yeah.
I worked hard in my and eat, or am I going to carry on training? I hope I carry on training, but it's hard. It's hard. But go
Yeah.
on.
Well, it is. I mean, listen, you're not going to sustain that kind of training for the rest of
Yeah.
your life.
Just
You'll just sort
take
of
over. Yeah. I think yeah. That's all. I'm gonna aim for it anyway. I'm gonna aim for it.
listen. You also got to enjoy life, right?
It's true.
Like this is what it's all about. We're not here for very long,
It's
so
true. It's true.
oh, Lawrence, thank you so much for joining me
No, thank
today.
you. Thank you.
It's honestly a real pleasure to have spoken with you. You're my first boxer that's come on the podcast, so that's a real excitement for me. And I wish you the absolute best of luck for the future.
Thank you so much.
This is just the beginning for you. I really do believe it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You can follow Lawrence on social media at Lawrence Okolie. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in. If you love what you hear, please subscribe and review. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Crazy Sexy Food and check out the Crazy Sexy Food YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.